Stadium Series game this weekend, UFC 298. And we will be joined in less than 20 minutes from now, the all-time scoring leader at Stockton University. Yes, the Stockton basketball team's DJ Campbell will join us coming up in less than 20 minutes because his story from where he was in Jamaica to now coming to America, learning how to play basketball, and now being the leading scorer all time at Stockton is an absolutely incredible accomplishment on a personal and a athletic level. So we will hear from him in less than 20 minutes. So we're going to squeeze a lot into the power hour here. And of course, you can join the conversation as well. But off the top, we got to start with the Phillies. The Phillies finally made a move. And selfishly, it was the move that I wanted, right? It was the move that I was hoping for. Whit Merrifield has signed with the Phillies. Now, it's a 1-year deal for $8 million with an option for a second year. So it's not like they signed into a huge contract. But there are two huge takeaways for me from this story. Number one, I don't think you can overlook the fact that this is Dave Dombrowski at his best. For as frustrated as it was that we spent the entire offseason, okay? We spent the entire offseason complaining when the Phillies going to do something. They got to do this. They got to do that. Dave Dombrowski waited out the market. And there's a lot of people right now who are looking at this free agent crop that's coming in the spring training. Guys like Blake Snell, guys like Jordan Montgomery. All these guys that, let's be realistic, these are all players who should be on teams and starting, and they're not. And so I find it interesting that the Phillies finally got out. Someone out of this process. And it just happens to be Whit Merrifield. And look, unless you were getting a guy like Blake Snell on a discount, or you were bringing in someone like Jordan Montgomery, there weren't a lot of guys out there that would have made a huge difference for this team at this point. But I do think Merrifield is a very important player. That's the second big takeaway from this. Merrifield is a guy who has historically been a guy who is a good hitter. Okay? I think that is a huge factor that needs to go into this, because what was the problem for the Phillies the last two seasons? In the World Series in 2022 and in the NLCS in 2023, both times, the Phillies had trouble hitting. It wasn't necessarily their pitching that was losing them these games. No, it was the fact that the Phillies have the all-time record for strikeouts in the World Series. It's the fact that against the Diamondbacks, when you should have beat them, you could have beat them, you couldn't get a hit if your life depended on it. Now, you're bringing in a guy who is a career 284 hitter. He is a 3-time All-Star. This is someone who has led the American League twice in hits. He has led the American League in doubles, 3 times in stolen bases. You went and got a guy who is more than just a utility player, more than just a right-handed bat. You got someone that when his name comes up in the lineup, you feel a ton better than if you did if it was Sosa, Castro, Cave. Shall I go on? You get the point. He now can be the other guy on this team. Because if Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Realmuto all go cold again for a game or two, The guy who probably won't be cold with them is Merrifield. This is a guy who has shown you that more often than not, he is going to be a guy who hits for contact. Now, some of that contact doesn't always get him on base. I understand the concern people like Mike Gill had on the Sports Bash earlier, 97.3 ESPN. Now, Merrifield's on base percentage has not been great in his career, right? This is not a guy who has been an elite on base guy. Because at times when he's looking to make contact, he does hit the ball into outs. I totally understand that. But this is a guy who can play left field, center field, second base, shortstop, first base. He can do pretty much anything. He's a great option to play at second when you got a tough lefty like a Max Fried for Bryson Stott. He is a guy who can play left field. And if you want either Rojas or Marsh in center field, you can do that. He can play right field if you want to give Castellanos a day off. He will be the Phillies' Ben Zobrist. And we've already seen that Ben Zobrist is the guy that he showed you that you can have a super utility guy and win a championship. Ben Zobrist won a championship with the Cubs, and he was an all-star that year. And he was 35 years old. Ben Zobrist was a super utility guy for the Rays. Went to the World Series, lost to the Phillies. Ben Zobrist was a 3-time All-Star. Whit Merrifield is a 3-time All-Star. When Ben Zobrist won that World Series with the Cubs, he was 35 years old. And yes, folks, Whit Merrifield is 35 years old. A lot of good vibes with the Phillies adding Whit Merrifield. Like I said, I love the move. You guys let me know what you think at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See, I'll get to Steve from Ventnor's text in just a moment. But one more thing with the Phillies. Now you're moving into the roster phase of the team, and you don't have to feel like you're compelled to keep certain guys anymore, right? You don't feel like you have to keep any of the guys who were utility players because now Merrifield fills multiple roles. I think Edmundo Sosa is still on this team because he could play shortstop and third base, and Merrifield is not really a third baseman. But for example, Rodolfo Castro, he's on the 40-man. You don't need him anymore. Okay? You could make an argument either for or against Jake Cave. Personally, I make it against, but that's just me. But I understand for some people, he may have value, at least for the organization. The organization thinks he does because of his defense. Personally, if I were the Phillies, I would just go with Castellanos, Marsh, Pache, Rojas, and Schwarber and call it a day. But now there are other guys you don't have to keep on this team. You don't have to find a spot for Weston Wilson so you can get a right-handed bat out there. Right? No, Merrifield is a right-handed bat. Merrifield is the versatile guy. Merrifield is the player who can fill a lot of these roles. To me, there's way more positives than anything else with the Merrifield edition. 609-403-0973. Steven Venner chimes in. It says, great move by Dave Dombrowski. Merrifield can play left field if Marsh isn't ready, and he's insurance for Johan Rojas in center. Almost guarantees Schwarber will almost never play the outfield. And with Fried and Sale in division, I like that he can spell Bryson Stott at second on occasion. Steve from Ventnor goes on to say, Merrifield can also move runners above average speed and glove. I see him getting about 500 plate appearances for this team. One thing about the plate appearances, I do think that's going to be an interesting conversation because Merrifield had 592 last year. I don't know if he's going to get that number this year, only because unless they find a way to squeeze him into the lineup every day, I don't know if he's going to get the 500 again. Now, would I like to see him get 500? Sure. But I do think there's a scenario where he only plays maybe 120 games this year because the Phillies are trying to get other guys in the lineup as well. And maybe because he's 35, they don't want to overuse him in the heart of the season, in scenarios like that. There are cases where, if Merrifield want to give him a day off and want to put Sosa at second against a mediocre lefty and play him instead of Stott, you could do that as well. I don't think Merrifield has to be the only right-handed option, but I think that, as Steve said, it's the idea that he's going to get a lot of plate appearances. He's a good defensive player, above average speed. Yes, he's a guy who has had stolen bases, 26 last year. He led the American League in stolen bases 3 times in Kansas City. So this is a guy who can steal bases as well. He can help you generate runs. He is such a valuable player that you can make the argument that he should be the 9-hole hitter. If I'm making the lineup right now, I'm thinking it should be Schwarber, Turner, Harper. Then I would go. I know the Phillies will probably go Castellanos. I would go Bohm at 4, personally. But it would probably be something like the Phillies would probably make it Castellanos 4, Stott 5, Bohm 6, Real Muto 7. Either Real Muto or Castellanos would be the 4-hitter. 8 could be Rojas or Marsh, and then 9 would be Merrifield. Because then you have a guy in Merrifield ahead of a guy like Schwarber, which will now force every team to now make business decisions about who they're going to pitch to. Like, this is a scenario where when you look at the Phillies now, their lineup is going to be so stacked that you're not going to know who to go after. Like I said, I love the move. I think there's way more positives than negatives. Again, Whit Merrifield signing today with the Phillies, 1-year deal, $8 million with the option for year 2 in 2025. All right, still more to come. I will get into the busy weekend for the Flyers, NBA All-Star break, UFC 298, and more. But coming up next, from Jamaica to Stockton, DJ Campbell has had an amazing journey. He is the all-time leading scorer now in Stockton men's basketball history. And he will join us next here on 97.3 ESPN FM and a 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle.
Stolen by Bobo, winds up and throws it home on a windmill right hand. NBA All-Star Weekend on ESPN Radio. James Drive puts it up with an emphatic right hand. The 73rd NBA All-Star Game. Live from Indianapolis. Luka Doncic just won it for the Mavericks. The NBA All-Star Game. Tatum hammers a right-hand dunk. Coverage begins Sunday at 7 Eastern with tip-off at 8 Eastern.
Listen to the NBA all season long on 97.3 ESPN.
Sage Jewelers invites you to come see their new selection of lab-grown diamonds and fashion jewelry at their Sweetheart Sale. Prices are 20 to 40% off.
The most exquisite diamond engagement rings, top designer jewelry, watches like Tissot, Seiko, Citizens, and more. Everything at Sage Jewelers is up to 20 to 40% off. Take a look at the last chance case for deals up to 70% off.
Do you have jewelry you need repaired? They do all their work on site, performed by jewelers with over 40 years of experience.
Sage Jewelers, the real jeweler, on Tilton Road in Northfield.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I got to change the oil in my car.
Right now, get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $36.99.
Get in zone.
What do I do with my old oil?
We can recycle your used oil for free.
Get in zone.
And do you have oil for my old work truck?
You can find the right high mileage oil to help it go farther right here at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes Corvette, excludes prior sales.
Big news! Bennett Chevy is celebrating President's Day all month long. All month, we're selling new Chevys at the GM supplier employee price. Not a penny more. Plus, you keep all the rebates. Yes, that's right. At Bennett Chevy, you get both, which could save you over 10%. That's thousands more in your pocket. Ask yourself, what other dealer gives you an offer this good? Nobody. That's who. Plus, there's available 1.9% financing. Hold on, there's more. Bennett is paying a mind-blowing minimum $10,000 for any old junker you can drive or tow our lot towards any pre-owned in stock. To be clear, 10 grand is the bare minimum. Now imagine how much you'll get for a good trade. One more thing. First time at Bennett, you're in for a treat. Unlike other dealers, our non-commissioned sales team isn't paid on how much you spend. They're rewarded based on your satisfaction. Trust me, it makes a huge difference. Together, let's drive. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month.
$5 million policy. SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-457-6060. That's 1-800-457-6060. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-457-6060. That's 1-800-457-6060.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Hey, any big plans for today? Yep, checking out Target's 4-day sale. Oh, for what? For scoring 20% off. For 20% off. For everything you need for spring. 20% off tees, jeans, and shoes. Even select bedding, bath, storage, and more. Wait, for real? For how long? 4 days. That's the name of the sale. Target's 4-day sale. Ah, the 4-day sale. Count me in for sure. Don't miss Target's 4-day sale. Ends Monday. Restrictions apply. See Target.com for details.
You have the choice, whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant. Those choices help put money back into your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts a spotlight on local restaurants.
Crossroads Bar and Grill, pushing the boundaries on what bar food should be. Romanelli's Garden Cafe, where delicious meets delightful. Chico & Sons in Northfield, voted #1 sub shop in South Jersey year after year. Visit ChicoandSons.com.
Thank you for supporting these great local restaurants from Town Square Media South Jersey.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Check back on the text board at 609-403-0973 and your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. Seahawks, we await to hear from DJ Campbell from Stockton men's basketball. Busy weekend for the sports world. By the way, I will be down in Sea Isle tomorrow for the Mike Seafood Polar Bear Run Walk for Autists, and registration begins at 9:30. The 5K run and the 1 mile family walk start at 12. So now, for those who are worried about the weather forecast consistently for the last 24 hours for Seattle has been the snow is supposed to stop very early in the morning. So the winter weather will be completely clear by the time registration is supposed to start tomorrow. So there's no concern about the weather tomorrow for the Mike Seafood Polar Bear Run Walk for Autism. The weather is going to be fine. There's no winter weather watch warning that's going to affect it. So please keep that in mind for tomorrow. So don't let the concerns about the weather prevent you from supporting a great cause. Again, we had Mike Monachetti on Tuesday show. I'll be out there tomorrow with the 97.3 ESPN truck over there at Excursion Park in Sea Isle. Again, registration is from starting at 9:30 a.m. So again, tomorrow in Sea Isle, the Polar Bear Run Walk for Autism. Of course, all proceeds are going to help. Anytime you help children with disabilities, it's a good day. So that's what's going on tomorrow. I'll be down there in Sea Isle for that. All right, joining us on the phone right now, Stockton men's basketball all-time leading scorer is now DJ Campbell, and he joins us right now here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. DJ, welcome in. How you doing today?
How you doing? How are you? I'm good.
DJ, I want to know from you, just to start, for someone like yourself, when you look around and you hear people now refer to you as all-time leading scorer at Stockton, what does that mean to you?
It's a real feeling. Like, it still don't feel real to me that I accomplished such a milestone. Still trying to grasp that feeling and understand like how it happened, but it's a crazy feeling just walking around campus, just knowing everyone is in tune with it and talking about it and telling me that I'm the all-time leading scorer. So it's actually a crazy feeling.
And, you're still in the middle of the season. It's not like the year is over. So you got, basketball still on your mind. And, on a national level, a lot of our audience saw what Caitlin Clark did at Iowa last night, where she's now the women's all-time leading scorer in the NCAA. So her and you have a similar situation where you both have these amazing accomplishments, but now your mind is probably saying, all right, back to basketball, right?
Yeah. So, I was in tune with Caitlin Clark, the record-breaking three-point. We kind of did it in the same fashion. It was a really deep three. We both shoot the ball really good at a high level, so it was kind of cool to be able to break my all-time school record the same day she breaks the NCAA women's basketball all-time scoring record. So it's kind of crazy.
Absolutely is wild. DJ, when you think about your journey, because I was telling the audience before you came on, you are someone who has had this amazing journey from Jamaica to New Jersey. And for you, when you look at how far you have come in your life, do you sometimes have to pinch yourself?
Yeah. I was just talking to my mom, and I was just telling her, like, oh, how crazy it is, like, from when we were younger, not knowing anything about basketball, not knowing anything about the sport, and being all about playing soccer and just coming into a new country, a new system, a new environment, and just picking up a sport that I just love and wanting to play every day, and just seeing how it turned out over these years. So yeah, I kind of had that moment today, just where I was just sitting in my dorm, just thinking about it, like, wow, like I really came this far. So,
DJ, you mentioned about how, it was originally soccer. So for you, tell the audience for a moment about, how you made that transition, because in Jamaica, soccer is a big deal, but then you come to America, you come to New Jersey, and then one day you pick up a basketball, and, from what I understand, it was a casual thing. You weren't actually thinking that you were going to be playing basketball in high school, right?
Yeah. So it started, in Jamaica, I was playing soccer. I played since I was like 4. I asked my brother because he was the one who I followed his footsteps. So he was kind of breaking down the story, me telling me how I started playing soccer, because he was really good at it. And I told him, like, growing up watching him play soccer, like, he was like my Michael Jordan. Like, I wanted to do everything he do. So just watching him play soccer every day. And like last week, he told me like how I would follow him to the field and I wanted to do what he do. And then when I would like make a move on him, like, I would be so happy. I would be jumping around like I was a little kid. And then the day before I left Jamaica, I was just sitting in the room talking to him like, what am I going to do? Like, all I know is play soccer, and I want to go out there and blow my opportunity to play soccer. So when I came to America, I met a group of friends in Violin, and I just went to the middle school. We stayed after the middle school and played basketball. And they was like, bro, you're really good. And I'm just like, am I? And I was just like, it's crazy. So Violin High School had a camp, and went to the camp, and wasn't sure if I wanted to go to the camp because obviously it's high school basketball. Like, it's a whole nother level. Like, I'm in middle school, and my friends would tell me I'm good, but I know it's a bigger world out there. So I went to the camp anyway. And then I ended up winning a couple, like, the camp had a couple contests. So I made a free throw contest, and the varsity coach asked me to come out for the team. So I'm just like, I went home and told my dad, like, Dad, they told me to come to the varsity team. I don't know what varsity was because, like I said, I was still new to, like, the whole entire system, like varsity, junior varsity. So, and my dad never went to high school in America. So I was confused about the whole thing. So I said, okay, I'll come out. So then the first game, I didn't play as much. I was just watching the game, and I just loved everything about it, like how you run up and down, you make a basket, get back on defense. I just like the competition in basketball. So I just like was watching it, loved it, and then after the game, I went straight to the park. Like, walked to the park, told my dad I'm going to the park, and I just practiced for hours and hours and hours. And that year, I ended up not playing because of my grades, because I spent so much time focusing on basketball. Like, school wasn't a factor for me. I just wanted to play basketball. And then my junior year came, and then that was the year where I just broke out, and I just all the hours I put in from my freshman and sophomore year, from just going to the park after watching that one game, and then that was it after that.
We're talking with DJ Campbell. He's the all-time leading scorer now at Stockton University, joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. DJ, you talked about how you enjoyed the game. You know, a lot of people refer to, and it's obviously unfair to some extent, you know, people refer to soccer as, you know, it's not very high scoring. There's not a lot of action going on. So, you know, for you as someone who played both sports, you know, obviously basketball's got a lot more going on than soccer. And it sounds like to me that appealed to you.
Not in a sense, because the same way I enjoyed basketball, the same way I enjoyed soccer. But the reason why I stopped playing soccer, because I had to move, and I had to find like another, in the neighborhood I had moved in, guys wasn't going to the soccer field playing soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't old enough to be able to go to the field and play. So I had to like get in basically where I fit in. So they had a basketball hoop, and I didn't know how to play. And that's how it kind of like got into my head, like, maybe I got to play basketball or something, like, just to like get involved in the sports, back into sports. Like, I've always been athletic, but never really tried any other sport than soccer. And then once I moved to Violin, I actually got into basketball. So I'll say I would have been better at soccer because I was naturally good. And then when you mix like being naturally good at something, and then on top of hard work, then you get a lot of good results in basketball. I feel like I had to work harder at being better at the soccer because soccer is more natural to me.
Now, you mentioned Violin, so I got to ask you, Violin for high school, right? So you went to the same high school as Isaiah Pacheco, who just won another Super Bowl. You know, what is that like for you, is saying, you know, hey, I went to the same high school as that guy?
It's kind of crazy because, like I said, it started now. I was trying to play, trying to get involved in different sports, and one of the sports was football I was trying to get into, and I was trying to get my physical. And the first guy I seen when I walked in was Isaiah, and he just shook my hands like, "How you doing?" I was just telling him like where I came from and stuff like that. He was just like same way how you see him on TV, just high energy guy. He's a nice person. Like he greeted me. So I was trying to play football, but that didn't work out. And then he ended up playing basketball. So he played my freshman year and my sophomore year. He was just the same guy he is on TV, just high energy, dancing, involved with the crowd. Like, that's just somebody you want to be around. So it's kind of cool seeing him on TV. Like, I tell people at school, like, it's just crazy to see him on TV. So
that's awesome. That's awesome when you tell that story. A couple more for you, DJ, before I let you go. You are a criminal justice major at Stockton, correct?
Yeah.
So what is you think the game plan is for you? Whenever basketball is done, whenever this is all, what do you want to do with that major?
Hopefully, like, get involved with like kids that's come from tough backgrounds. They don't got to be in like corrections or the law. Just helping out people, just showing them there's a way out if they're battling with like family issues or just overall just dealing with people that come from a background, whether it's that mentoring or just whatever I can do to help people.
That's awesome. I want to know from you because you were Jamaica to North Jersey to South Jersey. So for you, where does like South Jersey stack up to all the places that you've been and lived? Because for a lot of people down here, there's a lot of people who have lived in South Jersey, never been to Jamaica. They don't know what that's like. But you can sit there and be like, hey man, listen, you guys think the South Jersey beach is great, but let me tell you about Jamaica. I'm sure that's a conversation that comes up.
Yeah. I mean, the beaches out there is one of one. I can say, like, I've never really been to a South Jersey beach, so I honestly don't know, to be honest. But I'm a huge fan at the beaches out in Jamaica. Like, when I was younger, I would always go with my mom and my family. When I go back from time to time, I go there. That's the first place I want to go to. So, yeah, South Jersey. I mean, South Jersey's it's up there. It's up there. Maybe top three.
Yeah, but see, it's hard for you to say that because now I just found out that you haven't even been to a South Jersey beach, which means your friends are doing you a disservice, man. Like your friends got to at least be like, hey, man, why don't we go to why don't we go to a South Jersey beach sometimes? You're telling me none of your friends are I mean, they're not looking out for you, man. Come on.
I mean, they tried. I tried maybe like for like prom weekend or something, or just like a regular day in the summertime. But I haven't really been the type to like go to a beach in South Jersey. So like maybe like Wildwood, I'll try this summer. I don't know.
Well, listen, the next time whenever you do get to a South Jersey beach, I want the full perspective because obviously nothing will be as good as Jamaica. I mean, it's Jamaica for goodness sake. It's your where you're originally from too. But I'm sure that you can sit there and give us a little bit of analysis. So that's not to give you homework, but that's your assignment for the summer. Okay.
Got you.
All right. DJ Campbell has joined us here again from Jamaica to New Jersey to becoming Stockton's all-time leading scorer for men's basketball. DJ, I appreciate you calling in. Keep up the hard work and best luck with the rest of the season.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Josh Hennick here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. That was a lot of fun. That was a cool conversation. I love what he said about Isaiah Pacheco, about how, like, he said the person that you see on television is very much the person that he was, that Pacheco was high energy, that he was you wanted to be around him. And I thought that was such a cool thing. That he had that overlap with Pacheco and Violin, and he said, that him and Caitlin Clark also, they broke their records the same way. They were both deep bombs from three. That's a pretty cool thing to say you have in common, and obviously, Caitlin Clark breaking the all-time women's scoring record is this massive historic thing. But, for DJ, he's got to be looking around being like, hey, look where I came from. Look where I am. And that's why I asked him about pinching himself. And he said, listen, I was just thinking about it in my dorm room today. And it's stories like that just kind of make you smile. This is what, for me, sports is about. Okay. I know for a lot of people, sports is about, the competition, the wins and losses. To me, it's the people. I have always looked at sports as, DJ mentioned about how the reason why he wants to get into criminal justice because he wants to help people. He wants to show that people there's a way out. And for a lot of people, sports is that way. It is that opportunity to, as a young person, keep out of trouble, get you some discipline, get you some structure. And, I know for someone like myself, for example, I know that if I didn't play sports over the years, I guarantee you I probably wouldn't be sitting here today. Not just because I, sitting here on the microphone here at 97.3 ESPN, but I feel pretty confident saying that I would not have hung out with the right crowd, and it probably would have gotten me in some legit trouble. And once I got the sports bug, it was in me. It kind of like got infused into my system. And it pretty much changed the trajectory of my life. And I really empathize with what DJ Campbell was saying there about how, he wants to help people, about how, once he started playing basketball, he felt like, oh, I got to do more. I got to practice more. I got to keep working harder. And he's a perfect example of when you put work into something, you can accomplish anything. And I think that he is a shining example of that it doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter who you are, that if you put the work into something, the majority of the time you're going to get something beneficial out of it. It might not be immediately, but over time, that hard work will pay off. And for DJ, it was from 8th grade, basically, up till now that he has put in the work, done the steps, had the work in the classroom, on the court, in every aspect of his life. And now he gets to have his name forever on the wall at Stockton University. And every coach who walks through there now can point to that sign and say, if he can do it, you can do it. And it's an awesome story with DJ Campbell over at Stockton University. All right, we'll get back to the text board on the other side. As I said, a busy weekend in sports. Flyers got the Stadium Series game tomorrow night, which you can hear right here on 97.3 ESPN. UFC 298, got some thoughts on that because, of course, if you didn't see my article on 97.3 ESPN.com, there's a new headliner for the UFC Atlantic City fight card. I'll tell you all about that as well coming up. And, of course, like I said, your text at 609-403-0973 and your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, which is free thanks to First Bank of Seattle City.
It's Flyers Devils Stadium Series game live from MetLife Stadium tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Listen as Tim Saunders and Todd Fedor bring you all the exciting play-by-play action. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. It's Flyers hockey all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey, 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Champion Exteriors, Champion, the one you call first. Voted best of the best in Jersey Shores. For roofing and siding, windows and doors. 24-month financing, no payments, no interest. You're certified GAF elite contractors. Champion Dutch Exteriors.com. Champion Exteriors, Champion, the one you call first.
Hey, any big plans for today? Yup, checking out Target's 4-day sale. Oh, for what? For scoring 20% off. For 20% off. For everything you need for spring. 20% off tees, jeans, and shoes. Even select bedding, bath, storage, and more. Wait, for real? For how long? 4 days. That's the name of the sale. Target's 4-day sale. Ah, the 4-day sale. Count me in for sure. Don't miss Target's 4-day sale. Ends Monday. Restrictions apply. See Target.com for details.
When something happens to your kitchen, you might say,
"This is ludicrous."
but that won't fix your home. That will only get you the rapper, Ludacris.
Having trouble? Don't panic. Don't be alarmed. You need to file a claim? Holla at State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's right. You can file a claim on the app or call us.
Thanks, Mr. Chris.
No matter how ludicrous the situation, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español. Gracias, Babbel. Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Start learning a language today at Babbel.com.
And now, a poem for all you lovebirds out there. Getting down on getting down. Some cars are red, Others are blue. Trade in your old car and drive something new.
Fall in love with saving. Matt Black Nissan. How about 1.9% financing for 60 months on every new 23 Rogue in stock?
Oh, yeah, it's on at Matt Black Nissan.
With over 200 new cars in stock and incoming. Come see why Matt Black is your premier Nissan dealer. This month only, lease a brand new Sentra for $259 a month with only $19.99 down. With Matt Black Nissan's 4-day love it or leave it return policy, you simply can't make a mistake. Matt Black Nissan.com. Rate qualifications exist with approved credit. $27.78 per thousand financed on in-stock 2023 Rogues. Not all will qualify. Not valid on previous purchase. Go to mattblacknissan.com for complete details or call 844-917-4758. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer except for licensing, registration, and taxes. VIN RY263938. Sentra sale price $21,520. Expires $229.24. It's on at Matt Black Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Harbor Township.
This year, Dell Technologies wants to help you do amazing things with their best tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 US-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
You have the choice. Whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant or buying that new outfit from a local boutique, those choices help to put money back into your community. Town Square Media South Jersey proudly puts a spotlight on local businesses.
Pick-a-Lily Inn. Visit them on Facebook or at pickaalily.com for their pick specials. Nobody beats the Pick-a-Lily. Route 206 in Shamong. Storybook Land. Create your own story at Storybook Land. Let's face it, Botox and more. Take some time for yourself and book an appointment. Enhancing your natural beauty can begin today. Online at letsfaceitbotox.com. Apex East Roofing. Get a price on your roof in 30 seconds at apexeastroofing.com. And Dennisville Fence. When you want experience, go for the best. Fences, railings, outdoor shower enclosures, and more. Request a quote at dennisvillefence.com. Thank you for supporting your local businesses. Pick-a-Lily Inn, Storybook Land, Let's Face It, Botox, and more. Apex East Roofing and Dennisville Fence from Town Square Media, South Jersey.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
We'll get back to the text board at 609-403-0973. I see Matt from Delaware chiming in, but don't forget tomorrow night, Flyers are back in action against the Devils, the Stadium Series. And when you watch the Flyers, why don't you level up your game day ritual with the ultimate vodka? Yes, Union Forge vodka. Cheer on the Flyers with the best tasting vodka produced right here in the Philadelphia area. Grab a Union Forge bottle today as the Flyers take on the Devils tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. And yes, you can listen to the game for free as well on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City. Matt in Delaware chimed in a little bit earlier. Says, hey, Josh, what are your thoughts on the All-Star game in the NBA? I enjoy it as a random Sunday night entertainment, and I think people complain a little bit too much about it. I know you're not a racing guy, but if the Daytona 500 wasn't on, I'd watch a full All-Star game and be entertained. That is Matt from Delaware. Well, Matt, a couple things are. One, I think that your perspective on it is way more grounded than the average person is, okay? It seems to me that your perspective on it is, frankly, more than fair. That you're looking at it as, hey, this is entertainment. You're not looking at it as, you're not looking at it as, I need this to be a great game. You're looking at it as, hey, I just want to be entertained. And I think that is the right way to look at it, in my opinion. I think that's more than a fair way to look at it. You know, a lot of people get so hung up on, oh, this and that. I think that for the NBA All-Star game, what really needs to be considered is it's the lack of competitiveness that drives people nuts. Even Kobe Bryant, when he played, he complained about the lack of defense, the lack of real basketball competition. I think there is a part that you should be critical of the game because it feels like at times, not all the time, but it feels like at times there is an element to the game that definitely is very frustrating. And I tend to believe that, you know, when it comes to the NBA All-Star game, there is a way to make it better. There is a real way to make the sport more interesting, more entertaining, and less exasperating. I genuinely think there's a way to do that. And I think there's a way to put the game out there in a way that is not going to frustrate people as much. And I think that for someone like you, you have the right perspective. You're saying, look, this is an entertainment product. But for a lot of people, they are looking at the game as, I have no incentive to watch this. I think that's the problem. Now, to your question about the Daytona 500, he said, I know you're not a big racing guy. No, I'm not. But I'm also aware the Daytona 500 is like the Super Bowl of racing. Okay, I'm not tone deaf enough to not know that the biggest start to the season is right here. Okay. Now, if I remember correctly, the Daytona 500, I have to double check my booth in the middle of the afternoon. So in theory, shouldn't the race be over by the time the NBA All-Star game starts? I mean, let me double check that. You know, Daytona 500 start time. Like, it's got to be, I feel like it's the middle. So here it says 2:30 p.m. So in theory, Matt in Delaware, the Daytona 500 should be done before the NBA All-Star game tips off after 8 p.m. Now, I haven't sat down and watched an entire NASCAR race before. NASCAR is one of those things where it's like, I follow the results casually, and I have a interest in certain drivers because of who they are personality-wise and stuff. But no, I've never watched an entire race. So I got to be honest with you. If you're telling me that a NASCAR race is going to take more than 5 hours, that should answer your question why that I'm not a racing guy. Matt in Delaware. I mean, if you were to ask me who's going to win the race, I feel like it's very hard to find lines on this stuff anymore. Maybe Matt in Delaware can explain to me why I looked at 3 different sports books, couldn't find lines, but I finally found a line via Caesar Sportsbook. But if you were to ask me to pick 3 drivers I think that win the Daytona 500, I'm only looking at this from a purely analytical standpoint. This is not me having any inside knowledge or expertise on NASCAR. But from my experience, the favorites usually don't win these races. So the fact that Joey Logano is the favorite, I would not pick him to win the race. But I look at a guy like Denny Hamlin, I look at a guy like Kyle Busch, and I typically believe that guys who have experience in these races are typically the guy who has a chance to win it. So if you were to ask me to pick someone, Denny Hamlin at plus 1,200, Kyle Busch at plus 1,400 are probably the 2 names that stand out to me the most. If I had to pick a third guy, maybe Ryan Blaney. Those would probably be the 3 that I would look at. I know Keselowski is very high on this list. He's second best betting odds, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big Keselowski guy, so maybe that's a personal bias I have getting in the way. One thing I do know is UFC, big news that came out last night. I wrote about it today on 97.3 ESPN.com. There is a New Jersey fighter who will be the headliner for UFC Fight Night Atlantic City, March 30th. It'll be Erin Blanchfield. She is the number 2 women's flyweight in the world. And this will be a number 1 contender fight. Basically, the winner of this fight is going to be fighting for the belt. It's a pretty simple equation. Erin's one of the best fighters in the world at flyweight, and she's from North Jersey, and she will be headlining this fight. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that fight goes. Her versus Marion Farrat is who she'll be fighting. Also on the card will be former UFC middleweight champion Chris Weidman, and also born in New Jersey is Vicente Luque. He will be fighting on the card as well. So you can get all the details about that at 97.3 ESPN. This weekend, UFC 298, a fascinating fight card on a multitude of levels because, you have a guy like Henry Cejudo. It's going to be one of the greatest fighters of all time. He says if he loses this fight, he's going to retire. So that's an interesting twist to this event. Volkanovski versus Topuria. These guys have been trash talking all week long. Volkanovski, 35 years old. He hasn't really slowed down, but he showed you that he tried to go up to 155. He was unable to win the belt. So now, where does he go from here? Does he keep dominating at 145? And is Topuria the guy to unseat him? Now, Topuria is I think he's a 12-0 is the number. He's either 12-0 or 112 straight. I don't have the number in front of me, but this is a great test for Volkanovski because Topuria is going to push the pressure. He's going to make him fight. And I think Volkanovski wins. And if you're someone who likes to throw a little cheese on a fight, right? I think that the best thing to do is if you parlayed Robert Whittaker with Alexander Volkanovski as a parlay, get plus 155 odds. Both of them to win. I think that's probably your best value for the weekend. For those of you who are interested in my thoughts on NBA All-Star Weekend, I got to be honest with you guys. I think the NBA All-Star Weekend has become the stupidest thing in the world. It's so disappointing that an event like the 3-point competition and the dunk competition have literally become watered down because the players just don't take these things as seriously as they used to. So I tend to believe that the guy who wins a lot of these is the guy who is the most zeroed in on the events. Like, for example, Tyrese Halliburton of plus 440 to win the 3-point competition. That makes a lot of sense to me because it's in Indiana. It'll be in front of the fans. So he will have a vested interest in showing everyone what he's capable of. Okay. I tend to think that he's going to win the 3-point competition. And in terms of, the All-Star game itself, I think that there's a real strong possibility that your All-Star game MVP is going to be Steph Curry. He has been on such a heater lately in terms of shooting. And I think no matter what happens on Saturday night, he will take that energy and carry it over into the All-Star game. So Steph Curry will be my pick to win NBA All-Star MVP at plus 850. So those are some thoughts and picks for your sports weekend. Matt in Delaware said, I thought the race was later than that. He says, yeah, Daytona 500 betting lines are tough because half the field could wreck before the race is even over. Picking the Daytona 500 winner is kind of like picking a major winner in tennis. Like, you're supposed to pick Federer, Djokovic, but there's always something weird that happens in a tennis tournament that can derail. That's why you're better picking per round, not the actual race as a whole. Anthony from Atlantic City said the NBA has put a lot of work into improving the All-Star game. You're right, Anthony. They're really trying. It's East versus West this year. They got rid of all the gimmicks with the contest. I think there will be a lot of people who tune in for the Steph versus Sabrina Ionescu showdown. I think there are a lot of people who are going to tune in for that. And I think that you'll probably get some very good viewership for that. It'll be interesting to see what gets better viewership on Saturday night. Flyers-Devils game or the NBA All-Star Saturday night. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. Have a great weekend, everybody.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get $50 in gift cards good for use at Crossroads Bar and Grill in Egg Harbor City for just $25.
This great deal is on sale now at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
SeizeTheDeal.com.